Oh, Square Enix, you really know how to keep us waiting. 10 years for Final Fantasy XV, 14 years for Kingdom Hearts 3, and now 23 years for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Even after these games were announced, there was always a guarantee that they wouldn't come out for at least another 5 years. Final Fantasy VII Remake was a special case, though. Widely regarded as one of the greatest games of all time, Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1 was many people's introduction to Japanese RPGs, shaking the gaming world with an emotionally impactful story, satisfying turn-based combat, and music that, to this day, will bring a tear to the eyes of 1 out of 10 people. The other 9 will then go into a rant about how 8 is better. So naturally, when remakes and remasters became a thing, fans were begging, crying, and howling for a remake of Final Fantasy VII. I think this started at around the PS3 generation, and even though Square Enix didn't confirm they were making one, they trolled us quite a bit. Wait a minute. Is this it? Are they finally doing it? Aw, dang it.
17 long years ago.
Yes! This is it! They're finally doing it! Thank you! This is just the original game on PS4. What the f-
At last, the promise has been made.
Nope. No way, Jose. I'm not falling for this one again. Nope. What is this anyway? Is it a movie? Sure looks like a movie to me. Yeah, look at that logo. Final Fantasy VII, the movie. Honestly, if you didn't think this announcement was a big deal, 7 hours worth of reaction videos would love to disagree with you. I kid you not, the millisecond the word remake showed up in that trailer, this game became one of the most anticipated titles of all time. Fast forward to now, and the game has finally been released. That's right, if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan and just woke up from a 5-year coma, then consider yourself lucky. Because not only is there a Final Fantasy VII Remake, you also have plenty of time to play it because you can't leave your f***ing house. But on a more positive note, this year for gaming has been fantastic so far, and it looks like Final Fantasy VII Remake is continuing this trend. I've seen a lot of my friends praise this game, especially Conrad, my good friend from the Commonwealth realm. Hell, he even bought the game for me as a birthday present, so thanks for doing that for me, buddy, and thank you for remembering my birthday, unlike some people. Mom. Even though I only recently played the first few hours of the original, I was very excited to play the remake, especially after playing the demo, which was fun as hell. There was no particular reason why I stopped playing the original. I guess it was just a combination of wanting to play other games and not really getting sucked into a 20-year-old game I have no nostalgic connection to. Besides, at that point, I knew the remake was coming, and even though it was only going to cover the Midgar portion of the game, I knew it was going to look prettier, I knew it was going to have real-time combat, and I knew random encounters were going to be dropped like a bad habit. So yeah, I waited for the remake, but now I'm considering going back to play the original because from what I understand, the story in the remake moving forward is going to be much more different than most fans were expecting. I haven't gotten to the ending yet, so I really don't have an opinion on that matter. Like I said earlier, I've just been hearing so much praise for this game, not just from critics, but my friends who got the game way too early for some reason. What a strange year. But what do I, a Final Fantasy VII virgin, think of this game? Well, you saw the title, so you should know that I think it's pretty good. Like, it's not terrible, it's not bad, I just think it's pretty good. There's some issues I have, but we'll get to that in a bit. First, the positives. Right away, you'll notice that this game is visually striking. You might even think that it has the best graphics you've ever seen, until you look at a box, a door, or anyone that's not a principal character. Yeah, for as beautiful as it appears, that quality sort of diminishes when you see a low-resolution texture or when you see someone talk. Still, you can't deny that this is a beautiful game, even if it does have a few hiccups. Then there is the combat, which is now real-time instead of turn-based, and I thought that the classic difficulty made the game turn-based, but it just lets the characters fight automatically while you pick their commands. Anyway, I chose the normal difficulty, and I think it's fairly balanced, even though there are some battles I find ridiculously unfair. Stupid Venom Mantises, just let me heal! Regardless, combat is my favorite part of Final Fantasy VII Remake. When you play as Cloud, it almost feels like a hack and slash with a lot more strategy built in. It is a Final Fantasy game after all. It's not the most complicated battle system, but it will take some learning in order to get past the hard battles and bosses with ease. Needless to say, I'm still learning. Damn, this stupid hell house makes me never want to be a homeowner. There's a lot to like about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it will definitely go down as one of the biggest hits of 2020, but it's just not clicking with me the same way it's clicked with other people. I just haven't fallen in love with it in the same way, and I think it mainly boils down to one thing that it just doesn't get right: pacing. When it comes to any form of storytelling, whether it be in film, TV, books, or video games, pacing can absolutely make or break the experience. In the case of Final Fantasy VII Remake, you only play the Midgar section of the story, which normally takes around 5 hours to complete in the original game, so obviously, you're gonna run into some pacing challenges if you want to extend it another 35 hours. In some areas, they do this right by offering more backstory on the characters that weren't touched upon in the original game, and adding new scenes and story elements. Even though I've only played the first few hours of the original back in 2016, there were moments in the remake where I was like, that definitely wasn't there before. However, even with all these new additions, it is really hard for me to give a shit about these characters, especially when they act like this.
Are your parents still around?
Huh? No.
Yeah, parents are dead, no big deal. I'm sure these characters feel more important to the people who played the original game way back in 1997, but as for me, a newcomer, they feel more like caricatures. The closest I felt to really liking a character was in Chapter 8, where Cloud and Aerith were talking on their way back to her house, making some fun and snarky comments back and forth. I kind of like them together, and I can't wait to see where their relationship goes. Hope it ends well for both of them. But back to the characters, I don't find them to be very likable or even well written for that matter. Their cartoonish and oftentimes stereotypical nature just doesn't feel right in a game with a somewhat realistic art style. It's weird, but what does this have to do with the pacing? Well, for one, I keep getting barraged with cutscenes. A lot. And yes, I know, RPGs are chatty more often than they aren't, but there needs to be proper flow between gameplay and cutscenes. I can honestly say in the 13 hours I've played so far that I probably spent about a total of 4 hours in actual combat, and that's being generous. And again, I know RPGs are more than just combat, but the combat is my favorite part of this game, and everything else just feels so mundane. And the side quests, which are usually my favorite part of any RPG, feel absolutely boring. Though to be fair, even my friends who love this game to death say that they are the worst part. The majority of them are just simple fetch and combat quests that occasionally come with their own chatty NPCs in the middle. Just let me play the goddamn game. There's no doubt that they added these side quest portions to extend playtime, and I do not recommend doing all of them. On average, I did about 2 or 3 per sector, and they still took forever to complete. The story doesn't only have pacing issues. The gameplay puts obstacles in your way that feel more like annoyances than actual obstacles with rewards at the end. For example, these hands. Why? And if you thought that wasn't strange enough, how about a dance battle? Why? Hey, I hope you like pulling levers, because there's a mini game for that too.
I'm still getting warmed up.
You're just pulling levers, Barrett, not running a marathon. What's going on with this game? Look, Final Fantasy VII Remake has a lot of good going for it, but these sort of odd decisions heavily impact the pacing for me in a way where I can't call this game a masterpiece. However, I wouldn't say it ruined the game for me. I still plan on finishing it, and I look forward to seeing how they possibly improve upon the issues in the sequel, Final Fantasy VII Remake 358/2 Dream Drop Distances. I just want to share my perspective as a Final Fantasy VII newbie, someone who doesn't already know the full story of the game and who isn't familiar with the characters in the slightest. In my opinion, Final Fantasy VII Remake was made more for the fans than the newcomers. Not to say newcomers won't find something to enjoy from this. So if you are a newcomer and are thinking of purchasing this game, I hope I helped you make the right decision. If anything, you can wait for a sale. I understand that my opinions on the cutscenes and the story are probably going to remain unpopular because I just have no nostalgia for this game. But regardless, I am very happy for you Final Fantasy fans for getting the remake you've been asking for, and I hope it's lived up to even your wildest expectations. And as for me, I'm still gonna play it, I'm still gonna beat it, I'm even going to play the sequels to this game. And I just really hope Cloud and Aerith get together, man. You get married, have a few kids, that would just be perfect. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video here on Ferris Wheel Pro. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when I upload another video. And I would like to thank my Patreon supporters, Stephanie Ferris and Smash JT, for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Ferris Wheel Pro, and I will see you on the next ride.